Hello and welcome to episode 93 of the Back Nine Six Pack. My name is Mitch, joined as always by my esteemed colleague Justin. Maybe we're turning the corner on the seasonal sads. We're getting
It's
close.
no. I think I've hit rock bottom this week.
I feel the opposite. We hit 50 or whatever today, and I was like, the sun's out. I'm back.
Well, I get that, and part of it might be that I'm in less than 2 weeks. We'll be in Mexico, so maybe I'm like
Uh,
50 is just not cutting it for my mental state. So I don't know. It hit rock bottom like Saturday.
Maybe it's because my floor was so low with the appendix situation. Like I got outside. We went for a family walk.
I was
Like
gonna
it
say
was it
you
was
probably haven't been
glorious.
outside much, so
No, I had not left the four walls of my house since it all went down until Saturday night. We went did a family grocery store trip, which is really not that much of a reprieve if we're being honest. So
no, it's not. I'm gonna pop this to help my
yeah,
seasonal blues here. Um, yeah,
I'm still
yeah.
on the liquid deaths for now. I'm scared to go back to to beer yet.
I don't blame you. I don't blame you. I think part of my seasonal sadness is like we haven't even had a chance to play like outside golf this year. Like
Yeah.
where normally like maybe sneaking around here or there.
Mhm.
We've not even had that opportunity. I'm as much as I love TrackMan, I am growing very sick of hitting into a screen. Um, Although that does bring up a good point. I am starring in a commercial. Uh,
I was just gonna
so
say you can't be trashing. I mean, you're the face of the franchise now.
yeah, no, I no, it's great. It's just like after a while, like if you're doing it
Yeah.
nonstop, it kind of grows old after like you like I want to get out on the course and hit some too. If this winter was like a mix of screened and course, I'd be probably okay. But I am starring in a commercial that did happen on Friday. Um, we were in there playing our normal money game. I know the guy that sold the ad spots to him, and he walks in and they've got all this camera stuff set up, and I'm like, and they came over. They're like, hey. We're gonna like pan over here. Are you guys good with that? I'm like, yeah, like we're fine, whatever. Get the pan shots or whatever. And the guy knew. He goes, hey, I got the two owners over here, or two of the owners over here. He was like, neither like really want to be in the commercial. Like, would you hit some shots? And I'm like, sure, yeah, like sure, whatever. Um, so I go over, I hit, I don't know, probably they did like a teaching segment. So one of the owners was like pretending to teach me. Um, and I hit some like 9 irons into the screen, flushed. I really hope they used like there was only one that was bad. The rest of them were just absolutely flushed. uh, then they were like, "Well, we want to get on a course like people might know, and like have you hit some drivers." So we went on to Muirfield, number 5 at Muirfield, which really is not a driver hole if we're being honest. It's the
Mhm.
dogleg right par 5.
Yeah.
Um, First couple did not hit well, but I'm telling you, like the last 5 were just absolute smoke shows. Cutting the corner on one of them. I think the one I had like 169 ball speed, which is like that's that's getting it for me. Like that's pretty up there. But yeah, so it's gonna run digital for a really long time, probably like the next 6 months, and then starting in the fall this year, they're gonna start running it on regular television, like one of our local stations. Try to like get that leading up to their busy season, kind of pumping the memberships and things like that. So met the owners, super nice guys, mid 30s, maybe low 40s. Um, Asked them about the TrackMan thing. They said it was one of the best investments they've ever made, which I completely agree. I'm sure it was crazy expensive, but
Yeah.
um, was definitely a really, really good investment. But that's enough about me being in a commercial.
Well, shout out to SGN for getting our guy in some commercials. I hope they do you dirty with like a before and after instruction video. Like, look
That
at this
would
shit
be
until I fixed it.
that'd be salty. But I will say this. I think I need an IMBD page now.
Yeah,
Let's
official
go ahead and
credits.
get this when I get the cut of the commercial. I think we need to go ahead and get that up there. I already have an agent. It's fine. he didn't get anything out of this. I think they gave me a $50 credit on my account for this. So
All right, well, we'll get Nick on that. He's whatever, kind of a producer of the show here, and he's our resident IMDb specialist. So
oh gosh,
he'll get you set up with that. Anyway, thank you all for listening and watching. Please smash the like button if you're watching. Follow us, subscribe, rate, and review the show. Follow us on social media at Back96Back. Do have some fan mail to get to later in the show. Thank you guys for sending that in. And as always, that's in the show description for anybody that wants to click that link and send us something. And it is officially Combine Week for the NFL.
yeah.
So we were thinking through, like, we're in the winter doldrums here. Like, let's come up with some fun segments here. So we had the idea, we're going to take some of the Combine events and try to pick what golfer we think would do the best in said event, right? So
This is going to be hard.
Yeah,
there's some clear, obvious choices for some of these, right?
Yes, 100%.
A few of them. The other ones are reaching, right? You're reaching. You're maybe like, it's like the eye test, maybe. You know what I mean? Like, that's pretty much what half of these are. So, and I think those are going to be the most interesting.
I think so too. There's definitely some room for some good sports debate and a few laughs along the way here. So
yeah.
All right, I'm gonna kick it to you first. We're gonna start off. I kind of tried to rank them in sort of, I don't know, order of like what people get most excited about for the Combine. We're gonna start off with the 3-cone drill,
which is an interesting drill. If anybody doesn't know, you kind of like run an L. You kind of zigzag in the cones, run an L. It's weird. I mean, just knowing it's very much a DB drill. What was called what it is. Like, most of the DBs score really, really high on this. Maybe running backs, but like big guys this is a tough drill for them. Which is why this is going to be one that I'm kind of reaching on. I'm kind of going off history, back athletic history. This is a 3-sport athlete in high school, and as a kid, he played soccer, he played baseball, he played golf, actually 4, basketball as well. Jordan Spieth. Eye test. Just kind of feels a little mobile. The soccer background maybe would help him in this a little bit. I don't know. It seems like a reach, but I think with the 4 sports under his belt, especially soccer, the footwork should help him in this drill.
Yeah, I don't hate it. We'll put a pin in Jordan. I've got him later in this list. Spoiler alert there. But I kind of like where your head's at. 3-cone drill, like you said, it's like quick burst, short field kind of motion, agility stuff, right? So for that, I went with a smaller guy, also someone who's got a little bit of soccer in their history. I'm slotting Rory McIlroy in here right here.
Ooh, okay. He's an underrated athlete, I think.
I think so too, and he's we know he's a gym freak. He keeps his body right. Like I said, he's got plenty, I think, agility and some good fast twitch in him, enough to generate a lot of power in his golf swing for being smaller. He's only about 5'9". So
yeah, and I heard he tore up the Peloton circuit there for a little while when that was hot. Placing in like top 10, top 20 in some of the classes, which for people that don't know, that's insane. Like, genuinely insane. Like, there's professional athletes in there training in those Peloton classes. For him to like notch a top 20 or top 10 is pretty impressive. I'll give you that.
Newsflash, he is a professional athlete.
I get that, but like, let's just call it what it is. Golfers have great hand-eye coordination, right?
Yeah.
Outside of that, it gets iffy on some of these guys. I have a runner-up for this one, which is like way out there, but smaller guy, pretty agile, flexible, stay low to the green, get really to the ground. Actually, completely Villegas. Like
Villegas, huh?
Villegas. He just like, I don't know, light. He's not very heavy, not carrying around a lot of weight. Quick movements shouldn't be hard for him. I don't know. That was my runner-up, though. I almost took him, and I had to have Jordan in here somewhere, so I put Jordan in as my pick. But he's definitely my runner-up.
Yeah, I mean, Villegas, he's a little older now, so I don't know how it's holding up. But, go back to his early days, like he was the guy doing the like Spider-Man on the ground, reading putts. He's flexible, athletic, super fit still. I mean,
oh, super. And well, I'll tell you this, and I don't think he's going to be in either of our lists because I thought it was just too far back. Hale Irwin was a low key, like, athletic killer. He had a Division I football scholarship.
yeah.
Decided to play golf. Like Hale Irwin was an athlete.
Yeah, I mean, probably or obviously of a generation where like I don't know, the athleticism and specialization wasn't quite a thing yet, right? So like if you were an athlete, you were probably a multi-sport player,
Oh,
right?
yeah. When you're in high school, if like you were good at athletically at all, you're probably playing every single sport.
Yeah.
You probably go into a high school with your class is like 75 kids. So you're playing. Like if you're a decent athlete, you're playing. Fall, winter, spring, you're playing every sport.
Yeah, for sure. All right, 20-yard shuttle. This is one. I had a couple here. I'm not going to tell you the first guy because I actually had him written down and scratched him for another category.
Okay.
But I think I've got a bit of a lock for this one, to be honest with you.
I think my guy's a lock.
I'm taking Denny McCarthy. And
okay.
I know it's tough, but just hear me out on this. So 20-yard shuttle is a little bit of there's like 3 cones spread out. You start in the middle.
Lateral movements.
Lateral movement left, and then you shoot back the other way to the 10 and then back to the center as fast as you can, essentially. So my thought is Denny was a pretty good basketball player. Guy's a shooter. And when you think about him on the golf course, he's just a straight-up grinder. Like
I get that.
I just like this guy has done so many baseline running drills throughout his life.
Yeah.
And I think he's still got the build for it. I think he's still got the tenacity for it. I don't know that he's going to put up the top time, but he's going to be like, you won't be disappointed with Denny. He's going to give it.
See, this is where you chose the wrong basketball player for this.
Okay.
Mine, Gary Woodland.
See, I'm a little worried about basketball. I'm worried about his peak. He might be past his prime. He's had a lot of health issues.
I get that, but like lateral movements is like 8% of basketball. Like, let's just call it what it is. And he's the only one I know off the top of my head that has played another college sport. I off the top of my head, I searched to try to find 2 sport college athletes, and he was the only one that came up, really. So apologies if we miss any other that were actually 2 sport athletes in college. I would highly doubt there's another one out there. My runner-up for this, Brooks.
Okay.
Like,
I've got Brooks for another category. We can get to him too.
But he was close. But I was like, this is a good. If you played basketball, especially at the level he played it at, you've got to have good lateral movement. Yeah. This has felt like a good fit for Gary Woodland.
Yeah, I'm just, like I said, I'm worried it's more of an age and, body still having it kind of thing.
Still an athlete.
Yeah. I'm with you. I would be shocked if we don't have the same person for this.
Yeah,
one.
There's no way we don't have the same person for
vertical jump. Who do you got?
Tony Finau.
Yeah, that's. I think that was the most lock of the entire thing.
People forget his cousin is Jabari Parker.
Yeah, and Haloti Nada. Different sport, different set of skills, but he's got some athletic blood in the family.
There's some serious athletes running through the Finau family tree. I know they don't have the same last name, but it's pretty incredible.
6'4", 200. I mean, just a big guy, obviously, and yeah, I mean, I think he's probably still got plenty of burst in his legs.
Yeah. I thought about him for the 40-yard dash just because of his run down the par 3 at Augusta.
Well, then you wouldn't take him for that, right?
Yeah. Just long strides, you know what I mean? But yeah, I didn't want to take 2 for different ones, the same guy for 2. So we locked him in. Yeah, I figured we'd have the same one on this one.
Yeah, that one. That's one where I think maybe a couple years ago you could have had the DJ debate because everybody was hyping up about him being able to dunk and things like that.
Yeah. I didn't have a runner-up for that, but he was the next one that came to mind. I was like, so if I go with Tony somewhere else, do I take Dustin here? But no.
Yep, I'm with you. All right, next up, broad jump. This is one. I kind of had 2 guys for this, but I think it's a clear answer. but I wanted to have these guys here just to like at least talk about them. I'm going Scotty Scheffler here.
Wow.
I
No,
think
I don't know. We're gonna battle this one out.
that's fine. I think Scotty's just like an athlete, like straight up. And he's 6'3", 200. He's very focused on like the functional fitness type stuff. And I think he would just have the flexibility and the strength to be able to provide you a good broad jump.
See, this is where we're gonna disagree because I have Bryson DeChambeau for this.
Okay. That's interesting.
The powerlifting that he did, I get where you're coming from, but also like, Olympic athletes that do long jump, things like that, they're not doing what Scotty's doing. They're doing the powerlifting, in which Bryson did for the longest time. I think he backed off of that a little bit. He's focusing more on the functionality, but I just felt like it would be something he would be good at, weirdly be good at.
Yeah, so we can talk more about Bryson too because I want to have this conversation coming up. So yeah, the other person I wanted to talk about here though, I wanted to find a spot for him, but like I don't know that he's like maybe he needs to like grow in his body a little bit more kind of thing. But it's Ludwig. I just don't know that he's like actually athletic.
He gives me so like athletic wise, he gives me like baby giraffe vibe.
Yes, exactly.
Like,
Justin was what
like
I was thinking.
if he's not standing just flushing a golf ball, it looks like he doesn't know how to use his legs. You know what I mean? I get that. Yeah, I kind of get the same vibes from him too. Like, and I know his type. I've seen guys. Most of the guys that I knew that have like the perfect swing, worst athletes in the world. Worst athletes. Like,
yeah, I also think this is going to sound super nationalist of me, but I will say like I mean in Europe and in Sweden and stuff like you're maybe doing like some winter sports or soccer, I guess, in some places like that. But like over here, we're doing a lot more like hand-eye coordination stuff and more like just like things that require more like explosive ability. So I think that in general, something I noticed in these lists was just like how American heavy it is, just by nature of the events that you have here. So
yeah, well, and he's got like the picture perfect swing, and it reminded me because I thought about him like where can he fit in that, but it very much reminded me of a teammate of mine, John. Picture perfect golf swing, like not that never in a wrong position in his entire swing. Guy couldn't shoot a basketball, and he'll admit it. So I think he does listen every once in a while. So if he does listen to this, he'll admit he couldn't shoot a basketball. Couldn't do a whole lot other than just a perfect golf swing. So athletically, anyway.
All right. Well, I think you're sleeping on Scotty a little bit here, but I do understand where you're coming from with.
He kind of gives me the vibes too of like just wobbly. You know what I mean?
Oh man, I think he's like probably one of the like top 3 athletes in golf.
Wow. Okay, that's saying that. I wouldn't have him that. I'd say top 10, but not top 3.
Yeah, I don't know. We'll see.
The good
bench
one.
press time.
Yeah,
now we're hitting the heavy hitters here. Bench press.
I'm gonna say I went pretty deep. I went my runner up is a guy in the PGA Tour, but he's an older PGA Tour guy.
Okay.
The guy I went with, we saw him at the Barbasol. If you remember, we saw him at the Barbasol. But I'll go ahead. Unless you want me to go because I
go for it.
Kyle Westmoreland.
Yeah, I knew you were gonna go that.
Tank. Yep. Absolute fucking tank. I mean, this guy, he could have bench pressed one of the grandstands. I mean, just an absolute unit.
Yeah, a guy's a unit for sure. Like just
Like
head to toe.
I didn't want to go on the Corn Ferry Tour. Kind of had to. Like it was just so like this is the guy that I had to go with him.
Yeah, I get it. So this is 2 of your previous picks. This is the category I have them duking it out. I'm going Brooks. And I think it's more of like with bench press, you got to go 225 as many reps as you possibly can, right?
You want shorter arms. Maybe, you don't want the bar to have to move super far.
Yeah, and I just think that Brooks just has a dog in him, and I think he's just not going to let someone else out-rep him.
I could see that. Yeah, that's
just the way that I'm approaching it.
The mentality, definitely. I could see that.
Um, I had this pulled up. I want to look at this again. Let me see if I can find it. Oh yeah. So since this is Wikipedia, since 1994, only 20 players at the combine have managed to achieve more than 40 reps, which is that's a lot of
Dude,
freaking
that's
reps.
so
Dude.
much.
I don't know who this Justin Ernest guy is, but it was in 1999. He pumped out 51 reps at 225.
Holy crap.
The most recent like good performances, we've got somebody Netane Muti in 2020 did 44. Let's see, Vita Va or Vita
Vita
Vea,
Vey, yeah.
yeah, playing for the Buccaneers. So he did 41 in 2018, but like, there's honestly a lot of these go back quite a ways. You're like Larry Allen's on here with 43 in 1994. Like that's a dude right there.
So my take on that is, you know, specifically like now it's just kind of offensive linemen that are kind of getting those reps in.
Yep.
It used to be like defensive linemen too, but like these defensive linemen are trying to become more agile than they are like beefed up. You know what I mean?
You know,
So
a lot of them have like, you think of like Aaron Donald, Geno Atkins, those kind of guys. Like they're just like squat racks, baby. They're
yeah, yeah, they're
just all lower
yeah,
body power.
yeah, a lot of lower body, and they want to be agile. You know what I mean?
Yep.
So the whole like pumping out 41 reps, you kind of take almost a whole position out now, like how the game's played now compared to what it used to be. But
Yeah. And so the other I had slotted Bryson in here as an honorable mention, but what I want to say about Bryson is I get the vibes he's popcorn muscles guy. You know what I mean?
like it's a lot of like a lot of show, but not a lot of strength. Yeah.
Yeah, not much substance. He's listed, I don't know how recent this is, 6'1", 240. There's
Oh my god.
I don't know how old that is, but that's the last listing I could find. Brooks is 6'2", 205.
So that's where I went with my runner up. This guy does not have popcorn muscles. This is like like farm boy baling hay strength. And that is, and for those that don't know, you never want to fight two people, a wrestler, like someone that's wrestled, and you don't want to fight anybody that bales hay. They are the strongest people in the world. They are. They just are. It is. I've done it a couple times. It is the hardest job in the world. Your body is sore in places that you don't know you even have muscles in. So, which is why I went with JB Holmes. He's got that country boy,
man.
Like, let me get a couple beers in my system and let me go pump 30 on the rack. Like and he would do it with ease. Like he probably hasn't worked out in 8 years. He'd probably just get up there and just boop, boop. I'm telling you, that like Southern boy strength is growing up on a farm. Like it's unlike anything.
Yeah, that's a good call. The country strong is, definitely underrated. Man. All right. We got two left here. 40-yard dash. This was the toughest. Like, undoubtedly.
Yeah, it's just like I asked you if I could like dig into other tours, and you're like, let's try to keep it with like the first two tours. I'm like, okay, whatever.
Yeah. I'm gonna assume massive oversights here, but this is the guy that I said I had slated for the 20-yard shuttle. I actually moved him down to here. Luke Clanton.
He's pretty athletic looking.
I couldn't even find a listing on his site. For those that don't know, he's an amateur who's like still trying to earn his tour card right now, but you've probably seen him because he's been popping up at events left and right. But the dude mashes it. He's like, I think he's top 15 on driving distance on tour as an AM who's, 20 years old or whatever. I did find a last listed weight for him was 160. So
not a bad weight, not carrying much.
He's not carrying a lot of weight. And if you're 160 pounds and you're, top 15, top 20 on tour and driving distance, you got some quick twitch.
Yes.
Some muscles that are doing this
for
you.
Some explosiveness, yeah.
This is like me taking a shot with an unknown and just like, let's roll him out here and see if the kid can do something.
Well, okay. Well, I've got a guy that you had in the 20-yard shuttle. I got Denny McCarthy.
Okay, I respect it.
Like, again, I didn't know about his basketball background, but like, I just was like, look, he's small, Yeah, we're gonna lose some maybe time on the strides because he's not a very big guy, but he just looks like he can move quick. You know,
Mhm.
it is what it is. My runner up, another guy not carrying a bunch of weight, pretty decent athlete, I think, pretty twitchy, Justin Thomas.
Yeah, I thought about JT here too.
Just again, not carrying a lot of weight. He probably, again, we're gonna lose some on the strides because the guy's only like 5'7" or 5'8", but he just feels very twitchy and like explosive. Might not be, but the only thing about him is there was like zero history of him playing any other sport than golf
Oh
for
yeah.
obvious reasons. His dad being a PGA professional and things like that.
This is I wrote this guy down. This is again, I was thinking along the lines of like not much weight, maybe maybe the long strides. He's 6'1", but only listed at 130. And I have no clue. I, maybe Akshay?
I thought about him, but he was another one where I'm like, he's got
Baby
giraffe legs.
baby giraffe vibes. I
Yeah,
know.
he's
That's the
got baby
thing.
giraffe vibes.
I
That's the
also
only
wanted
problem. I'm like, can I see him like running down a basketball court? And if the answer is no to that, I'm like out. Like
yeah.
there's no. I could not see him playing a pickup game of basketball.
Yeah,
Just
that
no
one's
chance.
tough. The other one who I wanted to try to squeeze into one of these spots, but I couldn't find one, was Colin. Like he seems pretty athletic,
Yeah,
but I also just don't. He also doesn't look like someone that's done anything but hit a golf ball. So it's like,
yeah. He's another one that I'm pretty sure did not play another sport. And
yeah,
like Xander too, like looks pretty athletic, but again, it's like he doesn't. It doesn't. He doesn't like show that he would be like a decent athlete outside of anything non-golf related.
I think Xander kind of one. He's hurt right now, so that kind of like made me like, if you're gonna be hurt, with this, then you probably aren't gonna do very well in the combine. But also, I don't think his clothes have ever done him favors. He's always looked very boxy and like
Yeah,
kind of frumpy looking, even
yeah.
though I'm sure he's probably not. But like, he just does not look athletic, even
I feel
though
that.
he probably is. So I don't
Yeah,
know.
I feel that.
All right, and last but not least here, this is more of a look. Mental part is part of the game, very important. Wonderlic test.
Well, my research started. All right, do we have any Ivy Leaguers? Right,
Mm.
there is one on Corn Ferry. I didn't want to go back to the Corn Ferry. Kyle Westmoreland was the only one worth going to the Corn Ferry tour. Um, so I was like, well, what's the Ivy of the West? Stanford, and we've got a couple Stanford guys, but the one that stood out is Mad McNeely.
Yeah,
He's a two-time All-American scholar, went to Stanford, probably got some stupid amount of, on his SAT. He's a pilot. You have to be relatively smart to be a pilot.
you know what? This might be an oversight by me because I love this answer. You're very very right about this one. But this is where I slotted in Jordan Spieth. I think Jordan Spieth is just kind of like a beautiful mind kind of person. Like I
He strikes me as a bad test taker though.
see.
Like
I don't
he's
think so.
smart, but he's not a good test taker.
I think he's got elite like figure it out skills, which is evidenced by his golf.
Yeah.
Which is kind of what you want with the Wonder. Like it's more of like a logic
It
based kind of
is.
test.
Yeah.
And honestly, it's about making quick decisions because you get like 12 minutes to answer like 30 questions or whatever.
Yeah, it's quick.
So like I just think that him like from like a processing logic standpoint, I trust Jordan in that spot to get it done.
I don't dislike that answer.
But
But
to
he
your
just
point,
strikes me as like the kid that's like gets all good grades and then like they take the final and blows it up. Like just completely blows it up. So I don't
yeah,
know. He just strikes me as that like him as a kid, and we've known him forever now at this point, right? Like he played in his first PGA Tour event at like 15 years old. Like he just strikes me as a kid that like walks into the living room, Mom, I'm not a good test taker. Like it's like I know everything. I just can't take the test.
yeah,
I don't know.
I'm the opposite. I honestly like this was me, like me through school was I was always that kid that like did not put enough effort in, but was like able to just like do well. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
I
like
got
just
really good
figure it
grades.
out.
It was just kind of not that it was easy, but like it just kind of was like you just figure out how to get good grades and you could do it. I think that's Jordan. I think Jordan is like not like your nose in the book kind of guy or person or whatever. I think he just like naturally knows how to get through it, you know?
I get that. I feel that. I
Yeah.
wish I was that way. I'm
But
not
see,
that way. I
Mav,
had to work
Mav,
so hard at school to be good.
yeah.
Like, I
I
found that out the hard way my freshman year in college.
I get it. Yeah, to me, I like the Mav answer feels like he's the guy that knows how to take the test.
Oh,
That's
he doesn't study for it. He figures out a way to like outsmart it. You see what I mean? Like
what I mean. He just knows how to get a good grade.
yes, yeah,
Like it's more of like, but it's a different way than Jordan. Jordan's just like, I don't know, I just like did it.
yeah,
Mav is like he's figured out the like algorithm to do it right. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
Like which questions to answer first. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah, he's got a strategy behind it, right?
yeah,
Like he's 100%. I'm with you there. All right.
that was fun.
Well, that's our golf combine. That was fun. I'm glad we did that. It's always fun to like, I don't know, you see these guys on TV and you follow them or whatever, and just kind of like try to take a stab at like what they would do in a fish out of water situation.
Yeah.
So
Yep.
that was a fun one. All right. Let me get back to the agenda here. I think we are on to just talking golf. You got a best or worst thing you saw in golf this week?
You know, there was a couple things that kind of struck me this week.
Okay.
But I think everything gets overtaken by the tee shot on the second playoff hole yesterday, hitting trees and coming back in, and then winning the playoff on that same hole. It just, I was like, I had seen a couple videos that I found interesting, but that one was crazy. But if we're gonna go off reservation here, I booked a photographer for our trip to Scotland for one round for the old course, and I had a really cool conversation with our photographer. Makes me excited, but he was like an engineer, and now he does this full time, and he's like, I have the greatest job in the world. I'm like, I would do your job too. Like, it's really really cool what he does, and he's gonna like capture the day with the drone, but like not any of our shots, but just the process behind it. I think that's all really cool. The advancement of like drone technology has made, you know, video and all that specifically for golf way better. Other sports too, but I think golf has had the most, you know, advancement as far as like filming things and stuff like that through the new drone technology and stuff. So I thought that was pretty cool because I got to go through his whole book of, you know, past clients and things like that. I looked at it for like 2 hours. It was really cool. So, and it just got me even more motivated for May.
Yeah, no, that's sick. Yeah, golf with the drone stuff with golf, like it's like mostly an aerial game, and it's like on picturesque landscapes in a lot of scenarios. I mean, it's literally like tailor made for.
Yeah, and have you ever seen the video people do where like they'll be behind the guy and the guy hits the shot and like the drone takes off
Yeah,
and like follows the ball? It's so sick. That is. I've only seen like a handful of them, but those are really really cool. Cool moments when they get to capture those.
yeah, for sure. I mean, similar to what you were saying, and this is a good transition into just the Mexico Open, but like when you have someone like Brian Campbell win, it's like such a shock, and like truly, I had no clue who this person was. Like, and that's honestly pretty rare in today's sporting landscape.
I did not know who he was either.
Yeah, he was like 300 something to 1 or whatever pre-tournament, like one of the longest shots we've had in a while. But just like the PGA Tour's done a great job of like posting a lot of this like but kind of more behind the scenes stuff on social media, and this was like kind of like a 3 or 4 minute clip of like him basically mic'd up from like the win on. So like him getting carted around, and like, you know, him and his girlfriend having some private moments, and him FaceTime with family and things like that. And it's just really cool to like be reminded of, you know, like this guy's journey, and, you know, the reaction that his girlfriend had, and him and her on the green, like was like super raw emotion, and just, I don't know.
Well, I'd say the PGA Tour did a really good job. That the other video I saw that I was going to say is the best of the week. they just had a camera on her during his
Yeah.
playoff. And I thought that was really cool. Just like, the ups and downs, like he's obviously not going to show it, right? Like
Right.
he can't be that dramatic about it, but like she was like acting the way that in his head he was feeling. He was like, he'd like missed the putt on the first playoff hole to win. And then it was like, the whole ups and downs. So I thought that was a really cool video where they just showed her the whole time.
Yeah. Yeah, so just as we get into like more of the heart of the PGA Tour season, just I would recommend keep your eyes peeled to some of the stuff they've been putting out on social media.
Yeah, they've done a lot better job this year. Yeah.
Yeah.
And on him, I saw some people tweeting out, it's like, I can't believe the winner of this tournament gets into the Masters. And what I would say to that is, I think it's freaking awesome that they get in the Masters. Like that guy, I didn't know who he was. And, it's crazy. I follow the Corn Ferry enough to know names. Didn't know him. And now he's going to play at Augusta in April. And I think that's the coolest part of golf. Like, instead of Tony Finau winning that tournament again, you know what I mean? Like, God love Tony, but it's I think it's cool when a guy like that, it's like he's gonna play in the Masters this year.
Yeah, and I mean if Aldrich Potgieter had gotten through, I think people would probably been excited about that just because he's like a younger talent.
Yeah.
Longest driver in the game right now on the
God,
PGA
he just
Tour.
smokes it.
Yeah, we'll get to that a little bit, but yeah, that's look, it's a PGA Tour sanctioned event. Those get automatic bids to the Masters. Anybody could play in this tournament that has a PGA Tour card.
Yep.
It's not, anybody else. It's not Brian Campbell's fault that nobody else got in his way. So
Yep. Yeah, exactly. But I saw that. I'm like, it's still a PGA Tour event. Like the talent out there, even though it's not the big names, is I say this all the time. Like the 4,000th ranked golfer in the world could beat Scotty Scheffler on any given day. Any given day that's how deep pro golf is. Heck, like. My friend Tane played in the defunct Canadian Open that one year. He was like 4,200 in the world, and he's leading a PGA Tour event with a lot of the top talent there, right? So it's just that's how deep it is. Just because they don't have the name and maybe even the world golf ranking doesn't make them any less viable to play in the Masters.
Yeah, no doubt. So yeah, for anyone that missed it, Brian Campbell won the Mexico Open in a playoff, 2-hole playoff over Aldrich Potgieter. Again, if you've missed this somehow, please go look. The second playoff hole, his drive was like miles off the planet right.
So far gone.
I would say he gets a massive kick back, into it hits the cart path and gets closer to the fairway because of that. That was like an auto, like you're turning to your buddy like, hey, can you hand me a ball? Like when it left the club face, like
it was gone, like so far gone.
So you could say he led the field in strokes gained tree to green if you want to. Give me a little rim shot on that one.
What a bounce though, and what good for him for taking advantage of it.
Oh yeah, he had it. I think he still had hit a fairway wood and then had like a 70-yard wedge shot in to still make his birdie. First career PGA Tour win in 187 starts. He's most famous in golf before this. He was the low am at the 2015 U.S. Open at Chambers Bay. I had no idea.
What? Didn't know that. So.
He had not had PGA Tour status since 2017 when he last had his card.
Crap.
So he's been grinding mini tours and Corn Ferry. He earned his card back through the Corn Ferry Tour this past fall, and now he's a PGA Tour winner. So
that's all. To me, I don't. I love all the big names, but like that stuff to me is cool.
Oh yeah, he. I think he made more money winning this tournament, which is already like one of the lowest purses in the tour.
Yeah, it's like $1.2 million or something like that.
Yeah, it was like equal to or a little more than what he had made in his career, essentially, which is insanity.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, and then we can get to Potgieter. He popped up at Torrey. Obviously, I just mentioned he's leading the PGA Tour in driving distance right now. 20 years old. I believe he's from South Africa.
Yeah, They grow him different down there.
He is like what you would say is sort of the prototype of this like coming wave of just like drive it and putt it golfers.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny if you look at his stats page. So they have like the heat chart, the whatever, the web looking thing or whatever.
Yeah.
His off the tee and putting are both like all the way up. Like I think he's leading the tour in both putting and off the tee right now. And his approach to the green is like almost in the center of the web. Like it's so bad, it's like literally insane for around the green. So he's got like this really weird chart. And then if you look at his actual numbers, so like I said, he is second on tour off the tee, third in putting, first in driving distance. He's averaging 326.9 on measured drives, which is wild. But he is 153rd in accuracy. He's only hitting about half of his fairways. He's 111th in greens and regulation, 173rd in proximity. Like,
Oof.
Not good.
Which is crazy because if he's hitting the ball that far, he's got less in the green. So that doesn't make any sense to me.
He is 170th in strokes gained approach the green. He's losing almost a shot around, and he is 140th in around the green, about a quarter shot around.
Wow.
So it's kind of crazy that he's popped up the way he has. But I mean, you could see it if anybody that watched the tournament, I'm sure, real shaky with the wedges right now. He's got a lot of time and room to grow into that. But yeah, it's kind of wild watching him just like hit these drives, and then it's like when you're playing a scramble and like everybody's just like mashing drive, and you have like these 40-yard shots all day.
Yeah,
but you just can't make birdies. Like, that's what it feels like.
I know the chance of making birdie goes down significantly the closer you get to the hole. But at what point does this become a mental block where you're just like, oh my God, wedge after wedge after wedge, and you're not hitting anything remotely close? Like, how does that? Because we saw Rory go through that, a couple of years ago. Yeah. It was like guys driving the ball off the charts, couldn't hit a wedge to save his life. It's got to be a mental block at some point.
Yeah, so we'll see how he bounces back. I know he withdrew from this week.
He did, yeah.
Probably a little bit of a mental break. Probably felt like he let that one get away, to be honest. So
yeah,
we'll see when he pops up next. Third place, another person I never heard of, Isaiah Salinda.
New one for me.
Yeah, and then T4, Aaron Ryan, Ben Griffin, a couple grindy players securing a top 5.
I'm officially off of Aaron Rye. He seems like a nice guy. Ungodly slow. Just I can't do it. It took him 2 minutes to hit a 12-foot putt this weekend.
Yeah.
Can't have that.
He like everything that he stands for, and the reasons that he does the things he does, I should like him. But the aesthetic is just not for me.
It's not good. Club covers, he's slow.
The 2 gloves, like all of it's just like I'm just going to unsubscribe.
Again, seems like a super nice guy.
Yeah.
Humble upbringing. But God, we got to figure a way to play faster. That's just what we got to do.
Yeah. A couple notables, not many with the weaker field, but a few shout outs here. T6 Steven Yeager, calling him out because we took him here last year and it was one of our tournaments. We probably should have run it back. 9th, Akshay, he was like, I think the odds-on favorite at the beginning of the week. Another guy we probably should have taken. T13, Michael Kim continues to post some good finishes.
Having a great year.
Yeah, so I don't know how to take advantage of that or if there's even going to be an opportunity to, but he's
maybe if he's playing this week at the Cognizant.
He is playing this week, but man, I'm putting the screws down on this one. We'll get there.
Okay. I might have even mentioned who I was thinking, but
yeah. T25, the defending champ, Jake Knapp. T34, Rasmus Højgaard, the guy we took this past week. Just never he couldn't stop making bogeys.
Yeah.
Is what it was. He made a ton of birdies. He just kept making bogeys.
But he did make the cut.
He did. So that's an improvement.
Yeah, that's a huge improvement.
Tied with him, T34, was Blades Brown, who, for those who don't know, 17-year-old kid, forgoing college and all of that, turned pro. I think he's probably still getting in on sponsors exemptions. I don't know how he got in the field, but hey, made the cut, 17-year-old kid. See how it shakes out.
What a sick name for a golfer, too.
Yeah, I mean, that dad had to know that from
I know. Right? Yeah, I know. But it's still top notch.
Right. All right. Well, we mentioned it, one and done. T34 not going to get it done. Only 35K added to the bank. We have fallen again, 3,510th place. We're not even to $1 million yet. There's the person in first got Rory and Ludwig in the signature events. They're 8 mil already.
My gosh.
We're at 636,192. This is a don't overthink it week. I wanted to do this last year, and you talked me out of it, and it screwed us.
Shane Lowry.
We're just taking Shane Lowry.
Yeah, that's who I had to.
Okay.
I did think about Michael Kim because he is playing some really good golf.
Yeah.
But we just got to take Shane Lowry. Like, he's playing near where he lives. Like, it's just too good. We just got to take him.
Yeah, that's 100%. He's like a top 5 machine at this tournament. It's near his home. He had a runner-up finish at Pebble. Like, he's also playing good golf. It's just probably going to be popular, but it's just we need this kind of week from somebody.
Yeah. Let's do it. I don't even need to argue. That's who I had to.
All right, Shane Lowry, probably going to be the most picked guy, but whatever. We need money. All right. Last thing, TGL. Congratulations to your LA Golf Club. They locked up a playoff spot tonight.
I knew it. Yeah. Look, I knew going into the season, but now it's time to lock up the number 1 seed is what we need to do.
Yeah, you're right. Put the screws down.
We're playing for seeding now.
What I don't know that it's fair that you could just randomly sign Tony Finau for 1 week, but whatever.
Pick them up off of waivers. Free agent.
Oh my God. Yeah, so I didn't watch their match earlier, but I saw a Justin Ray tweet. They had a 2% match win probability when they were standing on the 12th tee, and they ended up winning in overtime.
Yeah.
So they were the first to clinch a spot, and then also the Bay has officially clinched a spot as well.
And they play tomorrow night, correct?
Yes, I think they play.
Jupiter.
We've got, yep. Boston, Atlanta playing right now. I don't know what's happening. I haven't checked. This is a must-win for Boston, or else they're probably out of the playoffs. And then, yeah, the Bay versus Jupiter Lynx tomorrow evening. The Bay probably could rest everybody.
Play the backups.
Yeah, let's get the backups in. I think we'll be all right. All right. And now, time for fan mail. Couple guys, look. Haven't heard from them from a while, but Big Pat and Tommy Turndogs in the fan mail
I know. I saw them back in there.
Yeah, love to see that. Miss our guys. We need the weather to get warm. That's what Pat wrote in about. One, he was sorry to hear about my useless organ. I too am very sorry about the useless organ. But he wished me well on that front, which is great. And he says he's just cheering for spring. So yeah, Pat, thank you for the shout out and the well wishes. Really appreciate that. And then Tommy comes in. He's feeling super excited about this golf season. I think as we are too.
Yeah.
He says he's in full preparation mode, which I'm kind of curious. I hope he writes back. Let me know what your preparation mode is.
Yeah,
like,
I'm curious too.
I'm curious as well. His question, I think we sort of talked around this, but never fully answered. Are there other golf podcasts that you follow? And if so, which ones? And he's also curious if we've heard of the Chasing Scratch pod. He thinks it's a fun follow. I've heard of that pod. And
I've listened to a couple episodes of the Chasing Scratch. It's been a while since I've been on there. I listen to Monday Q Info's podcast. He doesn't put out episodes every week. It's kind of a here and there as he's traveling around. But he's usually pretty good. I mean, I try to catch as much of the nothing up guys as I can. I try to pick and choose because theirs get a little longer, especially this new series they're doing for like golf trip regions and things like that. I was obviously they came out with a Scotland one back in October, I think, November. I listened to that one. So those guys, I've listened to a couple shotgun starts. Those guys, I think that's God, I can't remember his name. He's a golf writer.
It's Brendan Porath and
yes,
Andy Johnson, I believe. Yeah.
Yep. Never been a big foreplay guy. Just not my cup of tea. I don't know. I just never really got into them. But yeah, those are kind of the ones that I hit. I try to hit. It's so hard It really is so hard.
Yeah. I'm a massive No Laying Up fan. I listen to everything they put out. They've got sort of like a non-golf pod. It's called the Trap Draw that I
Yeah, it's a
would,
pretty good one too. Yep.
it's one where like if you're bought into them as personalities and like people or whatever, you'll enjoy that because they talk about a whole bunch of other stuff. And that's always fun for me to listen to. The other one, so if you're into like golf betting, golf fantasy stuff or whatever, Pat Mayo Experience, he does a couple shows a week around golf, but that's much more like truly like week to week gambling and fantasy stuff for golf. I this time of year honestly is like now that football's over, I have like a content gap. I might have to I'll check out some of these other ones like Chasing Scratch. I've not dived into yet.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Yeah, that one's pretty good. I might have to like dig back into that one. It's been a couple years since I've listened to that.
Yeah, I'll check that one out. I'm gonna see what else is kind of new out there as well because I haven't done like any real like pod discovery recently.
Yeah, I used to do a lot of it.
Yeah,
My problem is I this time of year I get a little more listening in, being at the gym. You know,
yep,
gym and sauna gives me. I don't like listening to them when I'm lifting, but like when I'm on the treadmill or whatever, and in sauna, I'm listening to podcasts. And that's when I get I get a lot of, my problem is I don't spend a lot of time in a car. Every now and again, like on a day, like I'll be in the car a lot, I'll get a lot of, but that's like a hit or miss. I'm doing most of my driving in this area, so not a ton of time behind the wheel where it's like, all right, I've got 35 minutes to go to this place and then 35 minutes back. If I get an hour podcast, I can knock it out. I just don't have anything like that on a typical week.
yeah. I used to smoke through like just burn through podcasts when I was working downtown and doing all that because of commute. But now that I'm working from home, it's like, yeah, I'm with you. The podcast time is like way down.
Yeah.
So you got to pick and choose your spots a lot better.
And then my problem is like I'll get into a group with podcasts and then I'll find an audiobook I want to listen to, and that really drastically cuts into the excess podcasts that I listen to. So
right. Yeah, I get it. All right. Well, that's fan mail for the week. Thank you to Tom and Pat. Appreciate that. As always, that link is down in the show description. Just give that a click and send us a text message, whatever you're burning on. And with that, as my hat says, we will head over to the patio for Patio Beers. Much closer to Patio Beers weather. We're inching closer despite Justin's lowest of lows right now.
Look, all I can look forward to is in about 2 weeks, I get to play 2 rounds of golf and I'll be in 85-degree weather for 4 days. So
yep.
I just gotta get past it. I do have a birthday on Saturday, so maybe that'll kind of help me get to the finish line. We'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm with you. We're taking a little quick trip for spring break to Florida too. So there's warmer weather in my near future as well. So we'll see how that goes. I'll kick us off tonight.
Yeah, go for it.
I've got a little bit of this is a deeper question, a little more psychoanalytical in nature. Might even be confusing up front, so like bear with me as I explain this. This is kind of born out of the Super Bowl halftime show, right?
Okay.
A lot of the discourse around it was very much like, if you didn't like it, it was because you didn't get it kind of thing, which I do think is fair. I'm not saying it's not fair.
Look, I know who Kendrick Lamar is, but I'd seen a lot of headlines where I'm like, that went right over my head.
100%. So what it kind of got me thinking about was like, I envision myself as someone that would want to get it, right? Like I would want to understand it.
Yes.
So where this question is coming from is from that sort of mindset. I was curious, what is the thing in your life that has the biggest gap between what you think about yourself and what you actually are?
Damn.
And if you need me to go first, I will.
Heavy self-reflection time. I mean,
yeah.
If you're trying to make me feel worse about myself, you might achieve it.
If you need me to go first, because I don't want you to go too deep into this, but I can if you need an example.
You go ahead. I've got a couple I'm flip flopping through here.
Two of them kind of come to mind. But the one that I'm thinking of most, and it's sort of an easy out because it's related to this whole the halftime show thing. I want to desperately be like the guy that is like into music and like knows all the discography for the different albums of people, and I understand the lyrics, and like I can tell you all the meanings behind all these songs and whatever else. And I think I've just finally realized, just play the fucking bangers, dude. I just want the bangers. That's all I want. I just play the bangers, play the hits.
Yeah.
With music, that's just where I'm at. I want to be like snobby music guy, or like I envision myself as someone that could be snobby music guy, but I just can't get there.
I would say I wouldn't consider myself snobby music guy. I just know like a lot of music, right? Like you play a song, like I can probably tell you the artist and the song name.
Yeah, I'm like that too. I get that. Yeah.
So like I've got a deep music discography, and I've got a kid that could tell you what the album cover looks like on some of these songs. It's impressive. But yeah, I see where you're coming from. Like, but I'm that way too. Like I know a bunch of songs, but there's about 100 songs that I'm like, you stick to this 100, you're gonna be A-okay.
Yeah, for me, music is like about the vibe, right?
Yep.
Whatever the situation I'm in, I just need the music to match the situation.
Yep. Or your mood, right?
Yeah, the mood, the vibe, whatever, right? And it's just like I there's a lot of things I got time for. I don't have time to sit down and like listen to every single song from a certain artist and like dissect what that
I
line
don't have
meant
time
and
for
what
that
this
either.
beef is about and whatever. Like I don't have it. I want to think I do, but I need to admit that I don't have that in me.
Yeah, and you know what I do hate about the snobby music people is like, well, what type of music do you like? Man, I like a lot of everything. Like, there's a couple like I don't call them like jazz rock bands that I'm into. Like, but then I'm like also like really love hip hop. Like, I've got a lot of like older hip hop. Like, how much I love Jay-Z, and and Dr. Dre, like those are like I like that too. But I also love like Luke Combs and Lainey Wilson, and those, like I love country music too. Like if I'm out on the back deck on a summer night, like I'm gonna listen to country music. Like that's just what I do. Um, I've been into the gym a lot, and you know what I've been listening to? Like throwback hip hop. Like that is I'll mix in some rock and stuff like that because I do enjoy listening to that working out. But like, but the people are like, you can't like every music. It's like, yeah, I can actually. Like, I've got I like a lot. Yeah, I guess is the better way to put it.
I mean, that's kind of where I'm at too. And like when people ask you that, like they'll ask you what your favorite artist is, or your favorite album, or your favorite type of music, and like it's almost like they look down at you if you don't have an answer to that. Right?
Yeah, like, oh, you don't have like a specific like genre that you love or band. Like, no, like I don't.
I just like good songs,
if we went through every genre of music, I could give you what my favorite band is in that genre or favorite musician is in that genre. Yeah. But like to be like, this is my favorite musician amongst all genres, I don't have that. I like a little bit of everything.
Same. And look, I have all the respect for people that are that way. Like I just said, I like aspire and envision myself to be that kind of person.
Yeah.
But I've just come to realize I'm not. Yeah. I need to be okay with that.
Yeah. There's been like one musician that like when he comes to town or whatever, I'm like, I'm going. And it's Corey Smith. Part of that is, my wedding's first dance with my wife was a Corey Smith song. Really takes me back to college. I found him when I was in college. So like but I wouldn't like say like, oh, he's my favorite artist bar none. Right. I just enjoy going to his concerts. His concerts are a lot of fun. But yeah, I don't know. I wish I was that way. Like this is my favorite band. I've been to 40 concerts, I just not that way. I'm not built that way. Because I think like for me, if I'm in like we're out on the golf course, right? and vibe is like we're here to vibe, like I'm not going to throw on hip hop, you know what I mean? Like it's going to be a mix of some classic rock, the good stuff, like the old classic rock, maybe some 80s hair. Like that's the vibe that I like when I'm in that mood. So just to like throw genre or like one genre, that's why I can't do that, because I can't do it in every mood that I have. Now I'm starting to sound like a schizophrenic. My one personality is,
Yeah.
that's a good question though, because I do aspire to be like, this is my favorite band, and I've been to 40 other concerts, but I've never been that way.
Yeah.
Like I have an uncle that's a like gigantic Kiss fan. Like he's got guitars, and I mean he's probably been to, I don't know, 70 shows. I think he's been on a Kiss cruise. Like he's that way. I can't be that way. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. God, that was such a good question though.
You got anything comes to your mind for you or no?
um, so I would say this. I'm, and it's different than that though.
Okay.
My gap is when I'm thinking through a situation, I feel that I'm like very confrontational. Like I can handle confrontation, which I can, but in my head I'm like, I'm gonna walk up to this guy and tell him this. And in reality, my actual response is, "Hey man," like the nice guy, right? Like,
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
gonna be so nice, he's not gonna punch me in the face. That is my like that. In my head, I'm like, I'm gonna walk up and like tell this guy how it is
Sure.
in my mind, and then I go up and it's like, hey, like the problem solver kind of thing. I wouldn't say I'm not good at confrontation. I'm just in my head. I think I'm gonna be very confrontational, very like pick a fight when I'm not typically that way. Like
Yeah, like
there's
you see
very few moments in my life that I've ever been that way.
you see and can recognize like the need or the want to be assertive, but you can't act on it.
Bingo. That's the
Yeah.
part. God. Yeah. That was the first one that came to my mind, because there's been times where I'm like, dude, I'm like, if I act the way that I'm going to act and not the way I'm thinking, I could get railroaded, right?
Sure.
Or just, run over. But it's funny because like I can be that way, but most 98% of the time I'm not. And I've always tested out as a type A personality, which usually type A is like very confrontational, assertive, things like that. But that's been like the one gap is like a type A that I'm probably missing compared to most type A's.
Yeah.
But in my head, like I'm like, I have this like dialogue how it's gonna go, and then it's like it doesn't go that way. I'm very like, very level headed. Again, most of the time, I'd say like 95% of the time, probably.
Yeah, it's like your basic self-preservation skills are kicking in, which is good.
Yeah, yeah. And so the other thing that kind of came to my mind, if we're going back onto like knowledge of stuff and things like that, I've gotten into it more, but like the analytics side to anything outside of golf analytics, I've tried so hard to get into it, like for football and baseball and stuff like that. And like I want to know so bad, but my brain just will not allow me to really like comprehend the numbers and things like that. Like you're really good at that. Like obviously with your job, I know you don't do like the scouting side and things like that, but like even before that job, like you're really good at that like analytical side of like numbers part of a game. And I'm just, for instance, like even with golf, like people are like, oh, what shaft you got in there? Like how many grams is in there?
Sure.
I don't know, dude. I went and got fitted, and like they put like this is the shaft that I hit the best with. Like I don't know, and it's crazy because like I'll play in a tournament. Like I played in a professional tournament last year, and like this guy's asking me about my shaft, so I'm like, Bro, I have no idea. Like,
Yeah.
I don't. Like, what's the launch? Like, dude, I have no idea. I have no idea. Like, I got fitted from my pro. These shafts had the best spin rate and launch angle and things like outside of that, I couldn't tell you shit about what the grams are. I know the flex obviously, but like anything outside of the flex, like I couldn't tell you.
I mean, it's probably good benefits you honestly, because like I'm the opposite. I get in the weeds with this stuff, and it probably caused me to overthink a lot of
Yeah,
things, honestly.
I've
So
I've never been that way. Like I've always been like, it feels good, all right, and now like obviously I'll get on like a TrackMan or something and hit it and make sure it's not like 8,000 RPMs with a driver or something stupid like that. But
yeah,
for the most part, I'm like, yeah, it feels good. All right, I'm not spinning it too much. Okay, this is good. Like I don't think, well, really prefer to have a 70-gram shaft over a 65 or a 60 or whatever. Never even crosses my mind.
yeah. No, I totally get that.
And I really wish I was that way, but I'm just not.
Yeah, no, I get it.
So
That's
sometimes I get a little embarrassed by it, by the way. Because like I
yeah,
think people expect me to know more
yeah,
about that stuff. And I'm just like, yeah, I don't know. I don't know what to tell you. Like,
yeah. That's tough. That's the thing where it's like, you're a good player. People expect to come to you, and like they just assume that every scratch golfer plus handicap is gonna like be dialed into every single thing about their game and their equipment and everything.
nope.
And yeah,
I think if someone played enough golf with me, though, they would realize I'm a field player, and they would realize, like, they would understand why I wouldn't know that stuff if they saw me play like 50 rounds of golf. They'd be like, oh,
sure.
okay, he's very much a field player. I've never had the perfect swing. Whatever. They would probably understand that a little more.
Yeah, 100%.
So, well, man, my question's okay, but it's definitely not going to hit this.
That's all right.
But I went to the gym at a different time today, and I say that because I kind of ran into some high schoolers coming in.
Ooh,
That's the only downfall of the YMCA is you could be like 10 years old and go work out as long as you have like a parent. And I
yeah.
think you can be like 14 and work out without a parent. So that's like the only downfall to going to a place like that. Gym etiquette.
Mm.
Okay. But there's one that pisses me off more than any other one. Like, it's not wiping down the machines, which is a big thing right now. We've got flu going around. You really should be doing that,
Yeah.
regardless. But my one thing is the dude that sits on a machine and like he's on his phone. Like, dude, you've been there for like 25 minutes.
Yeah. That's tough.
And it happened to me today with a high schooler. I'm working out my legs, trying to get on. I like the leg press where you actually like load the weight on. I've been keeping track of what I've been leg pressing, and it's just easier for me to do that on that machine. And I have a certain way that I warm up and stuff like that on that. I actually like doing some stretching on that because like unweighted stretching, it just
Hmm.
feels really good. But this kid just was like sitting there, like not doing it, not working out on his phone. Like he would do like one set and it'd be like another 10 minutes later. He'd do. That is the one thing that pisses me off beyond belief. Like if you're
Yeah.
using it, I don't care. But like the sitting there, like long ass breaks on your phone, that that drives me insane.
I've got a few. This list is way too ready in my brain. Uh, Anybody that is like doing, look, I'm cool if you got your superset or your circuit or whatever you're trying to do, but like you got to know the situation. If it's packed in there and there's a lot of people around, people waiting on stuff, you cannot be racking, taking up 4 sets of dumbbells, 3 benches, all this shit just so you can do your circuit or
Yep.
whatever. Like that, you got to know the situation. That one's tough. I can't stand, and I understand it, but I just can't stand when someone asks to like work in with me. Like, no, dog. There's like multiple of this machine in this place. Just go use the other one, or just wait until I'm done because I'm gonna be here for like 4 minutes
Yeah,
to do my
that's
3 or
that's
4
my
sets.
thing. Is like I've had people ask me that, and I'm like, bro, I promise you, if I'm here past like 6 minutes from now, you might want to check my pulse. I might be dead because like I don't
Yeah,
take a ton of time between sets and stuff. Like most of the time, like I'm working out on a budgeted time, right? Like I've got to be out of here by this time. Most of the time, I'm in there in the mornings, and like I've got to be gone by a certain time. So I'm like, I'm not gonna. There's not a lot of wasted time here. So like you working in on a machine, it's only gonna slow me down, really. Like it really is.
yeah,
So yeah, I don't like that. I really don't like that.
yeah. I just don't. And then plus, you're like you mentioned with the wiping down. And then it's like you gotta their sweat, your sweat. Like, do I take the time to wipe this down? I don't want them like their
Yeah,
bodily fluids on me. Like, there's a whole thing with that. And then last one too is like anyone that's using the equipment in a way that is not intended to be used. So if you're
seen that.
using whatever, like I don't know, I've seen people like get in a squat rack and do like and put basically doing like a leg press in like a squat rack. Like they get a
Like
bench
on a Smith
underneath it and
machine.
they're
Like on a Smith machine, right? Like
yeah, and it's like, dude, just go use the freaking one of the 6 leg press machines over there instead. Like, what are you even doing?
yeah. Well,
Uh,
it's like a flex, but it's not a flex. You like look like an idiot, to be
yeah,
honest. Like I
I,
don't know. That's how I feel. It's like, yeah, I've seen that. For whatever reason, the Smith machine is one that people don't use properly. Um, to me, a Smith machine is literally like squats and benches. Like I mean, maybe a shoulder press,
yeah,
and
you can
it's
do
really
shrugs too, but
yeah, and
yeah,
shrugs. But like for the most part, I think that's it. That's all that's supposed to be. If it's getting used in any other way, it's not right. Like it's just not. Yeah, that's a
no.
tough one too. I haven't seen a ton of that.
I saw
Um,
somebody do, like the shoulder like lat raise things, like
yeah,
the machine for it. I've seen people use those and like do like curls and like presses and stuff on. I'm like, what? Like, just it's just not good. And I don't know if
yeah,
it's like they don't know what they're doing or they think they're like sweet for like inventing a different way to work out. It's one of
yeah.
the two.
Yeah, yeah. That's tough. Like I've had like I've picked up different stuff from different people,
Hmm.
and like I've had a guy come up to me one time like when I'm doing like one arm tricep extensions, like I won't even put anything on there. Like I'll hold the ball and I'm like doing them one, and the
Yeah,
guy's like, "Why do you do that?" And I'm like, "Well, I mean, like it feels natural. Like like holding this ball like feels natural. Like instead of holding something." And he's like, well, "You're gonna hurt yourself." I'm like, "Dude, I've been doing this same exercise for like." That's another thing. The
yep,
unsolicited advice,
yeah,
and I was just like, I'm not like a toddler. Like this is not the first time. I'm like, go ask that girl. I see her in every day. She'll tell you, or she'll tell you I've been doing this for the last 6 months that I've been in here, and I've not hurt myself yet. Like the unsolicited advice is a tough one too.
yeah. I mean, it's one thing if it staff that works there or a personal trainer or whatever. I don't.
Oh wait, yeah. Like if one of the
Yeah,
Y guys came up to me and was like, "Hey man, like I think you should do it more this way," I would 100% take it. Like, hey, you see it from the outside. I can't see myself doing it. If you're saying I can make an adjustment, I'll make an adjustment. But like some dude in the cutoff or something like that walking up to me unsolicited, no thanks. Like I'm good.
yeah. Just yeah. That's another great one too, man.
Like I follow a guy on Twitter. He's really good about that. The whole thing now with like videotaping in public gym.
Uh,
I guess you could count that as a like gym etiquette thing. I think it's completely unacceptable for a couple reasons. One, I don't want to be in your video. And
yeah,
if I'm walking back and forth, I'm going to be in your video, right? And if you want to do that, go make a gym in your house and do it in your house. You videotape all you want. Um, and two, like I just think from a privacy standpoint, I think that's a place where most people like I don't care if you caught me working out on video. I don't want to be in your video, but I wouldn't care. But like some people probably would care, right? Like
yeah.
they don't want to be seen in the background, working out. They might be new to it or whatever. I hate that. Absolutely hate that.
I mean, I would think honestly one of the biggest hurdles for a lot of people, like just everyday people going to the gym or whatever, is like the self-conscious aspect of it, right?
Yeah, and there's so many people too now on Instagram that you're just like, it probably puts up another wall for people like, you know what, I'm
Yeah.
good. Like, I don't blame them. Like, I'll say this: the Y does a really good job. I've seen a couple people videotaping, and workers have gone over like, you can't do that in here. But when I was at LA Fitness, it was like an everyday thing, and I've had a couple people like, "Hey, you walked right in front of my video," and I'm like, "Weird. I didn't think you owned this gym. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't think this was your personal gym. Like, and I didn't go like out of the way to walk in front of it. Like, I took a normal route. Like." And it was like, "Hey, you walked in front of my video," and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't care, frankly."
Yeah.
Now, if I walked into your house and walked in front of you in your gym, in front of your video, you could be mad.
Yeah, I mean, it's just like I don't have to change my behavior because you're doing something like that in the gym. You know what I mean? Like it's not
Yeah,
on me to stay out of your video.
yeah. When I again YMCA, I've not had any issues, but the LA Fitness when I was there, couple run-ins where it was like, you walked in front of my video. Okay, well, you have your phone set up on the dumbbell rack. So, like, what am I supposed to do? I don't know. Like, yeah, but God, we could go on for days for these. Like, but
Oh
those are
yeah.
the main ones. Like,
Yeah, those are the heavy hitters for sure. I'm with you.
oh,
Man.
gosh. I had to get that off my chest. Today it was like, I was like ready to be like in and out in like an hour and 20 minutes with the sauna. And I just got this kid over there sitting. I'm like, motherfucker, get up. Like, Jesus.
Oh man. Well, and with that, thank you all for listening to another episode of the Back Nine Six Pack. Please smash the like button if you're watching on YouTube. Subscribe there as well. You can do that on wherever you get your podcasts to. Please give us a rating and a review too, and follow us on social media at Back Nine Six Pack. Until next time, cheers.
See ya.